Hello everyone, myself Heli Mehta, working as an assistant professor in Computer Engineering Department at Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. Our subject is Database Management System. Our unit is 9, that is SQL concept. So, today our topic is DML. In previous lecture we completed DDL, in which we see the create command, drop command, alter command and truncate command. In today's lecture we will see DML, which includes insert command, update command and delete command. Then DCL command, that is grant and revoke command, and in TCL it is commit, rollback and save point. So in today's lecture we will see DML, DCL and TCL. So first of all, what is DML? So DML stands for Data Manipulation Language. It is a set of SQL commands used to insert, modify and delete data in a database. So as I explained earlier, in database we can insert the data, we can change the existing data and we can delete the data from the database. So DML provides the set of commands to insert, modify and delete the data from the database. It is normally used by general users who are accessing database via pre-developed applications. So any users of the database can use the data manipulation language. It provides the commands like insert, update and delete. So insert is used to insert the data in a table, update is used to modify the existing data in a table, and delete is used to delete records from the table. So DML includes insert, update and delete commands. So first of all we will see insert statement. The insert statement is used to insert data in a table. Okay. So we create the table in which we have to insert the data. Okay, so or we can add more data in the existing table. Suppose I have a table named student in which I have a 20 students. Now I want to add one more student, then I have to use the insert statement. Single row insert. A single row insert statement adds a single new row of the data to the table. Okay. So insert statement is used to insert the data into the database. So syntax is insert into, okay, table name. In which table we have to insert the data? So we have to provide here table name. After that, in bracket we have to provide the column name separating by the comma. Okay, so we have to add the n. We can add n number of columns in this bracket. Okay, now values. In bracket we have to write value 1, value 2 up to value 3 up to value n. Here suppose I have a 3 column, then here I have to provide the 3 values. Okay, we can add n number of column over here, and according to that columns we have to provide the value of particular column. So this is the simple syntax. Insert into, we have to provide the table name. Okay, in bracket we have to provide the column of this table, and values we have to provide the value of this column. Okay, see the example. Insert into student. So student is my table name. Okay, so in student I have a 3 column, that is roll number, name and subject. So I write roll number, comma, name, comma, subject. So these are the column name. Now I have to provide the value of this column. Okay, so I have to write values. In bracket I have to write 1. So this 1 is the roll number. Now name is Heli and subject is English. Now Heli and English is a string type. Okay, so I have to provide it into the single quotes. Okay, and integer value I don't have to write in a single quotes. Okay, so roll number 1, name is Heli and subject is English. So this is the simple insert statement. Simple, we have to write insert into table name. In bracket we have to provide the column name, and after that we have to write values and the value of that particular column. Okay, so roll number, name and subject. So 1, Heli and English. So this is the insert statement. Okay, so see here, insert into table name. Okay, then column names. In bracket I have to provide column names. Now values, in bracket I have to provide the values of this column. Okay, now concept of this null I will explain later with example. Okay, so simple. See here, I have to insert one column, one row into the table. So here I have already one table, that is customer detail. In customer detail I have a customer ID, customer last name, customer middle name, customer first name, account number, account type, bank branch and customer email address. Okay, now already I have a 5 records, 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105. Now I have to insert the next record. So I have to write the query like this. See here, insert into customer detail. Customer detail is my table name. Okay, so customer detail, in bracket I have to provide all the columns separating by the comma. So customer ID, customer last name, customer middle name, customer first name, account number, account type, bank branch and customer address. Now after that I have to provide the value to this column. So next I have to write values in bracket. 106 is customer ID. Now question is a last name, A is a middle name, Kevin is a first name, 3350 is a account number, saving is a account type, Brington is a bank branch and customer ID, email address, this email address is a customer email address. Okay, so every string I have to provide in the single quotes and number without single quotes. So this is the query. After that it stores the data in the same structure like the table structure. Okay, so 106 question A, Kevin, 3350 savings, Brington and customer's email address. Now this next generated row is inserted over here. Okay, so this is the concept of insert statement. Now see here one example. Okay, so here we have a query, insert into customer detail. Okay, customer ID, customer last name, customer middle name, customer first name, account number, account type and bank branch. These are the column name. Now values, I have to provide the value in the single quotes. Now this query is invalid. Okay, the above insert statement is invalid. Why? See here, because the number of values in the values clause, this number of values are exceed the number of columns that are to receive them. Okay, so see here we have a total column name are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, and we are providing values, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, here we have a column name 7 and we are providing value 8. So this is the invalid statement. So valid statement always like this. Here we have a 7 column, then value must be 7. Okay, now see second example, insert into customer details. Same, in bracket we have to provide the column name, values, in bracket we have to provide the value for that column name. Now this query is also invalid because the number of values in the values clause is less than the columns that are to receive them. Okay, so here total number of columns. Okay, so columns are more and values are less. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So one value is missing. So this is also invalid. So remember this, in insert statement, the total number of column name is equal to total number of values we are providing in the value clause. Both must be same, otherwise it is the invalid statement. So in previous example, here I have a 3 column, roll number, name and subject. So it must be 3 value, 1 Haley and English. Okay, so remember this, the total number of columns in a column clause must be same as total number of values, or we can say total number of values must be same as total number of column name available in the column name clause. Okay, so remember this, otherwise it will generate the invalid statement. Okay, now next is another type. Assume account number is the primary key for the customer details table. So this is our customer detail table in which we have a account number and it is the primary key. Remember this. Okay, so account number is the primary key. Now in this query, insert into customer details, customer ID, customer last name, customer middle name, customer first name, account type and bank branch. Okay, and I am providing value 106, custom A, Kevin, savings and Brington. Now see here I missed the column name account number. Okay, so actually my account number is available in my table, but I didn't write it over here. okay, in our query. Okay, so the above insert statement is invalid because the column list specified does not include the attributes account number which happen to be the primary key for the table. Okay, so it is actually in table, account number is available in the table and it is a primary key, but in query I will not provide account number over here. Now what happens in this scenario, the SQL automatically assign a null value. Remember this, here I am not writing one column name, but it is available in the table. In this scenario, SQL automatically assign a null value. Okay, now being a primary key attribute, it cannot have a null value. So primary key will never accept the null value. So it will the invalid statement. Now here also email address is not available here. Okay, so for email address it will provide the null value because email address is actually available in the table. Okay, see, but I am not providing over here. Okay, so in email address SQL automatically assign a null value and it is okay because our email address is not the primary key, so it will not create any issue. We are not providing the email address, then it will by default SQL automatically assign a null value and it is okay. Okay, but account number is a primary key, and if we are not writing account number over here, then SQL automatically assign the null value and primary key never accept the null value. This is the concept. So first thing, remember here, if we have a n column, then we must have to provide n number of values over here. If any mismatch occurs, then statement will be invalid. And now, and if our one column is a primary key, then if we are not mentioning it in our query, then SQL automatically assign a null value to it and it will create a invalid statement because primary key cannot have a null value. So this is the example. SQL supports missing, unknown or inapplicable data explicitly through the concept of null value. So null value is the indicator that tells SQL that the data is missing or not applicable. So in our table, if the null value is there, then we can identify that it may be the data is missing or data is not applicable, but the null value is not a real data value like 0, one real number or any string. Okay, the null value occupies the space. Okay, see in the example. Okay, this is our table and here null value is there. Why? See, when SQL insert a new row of the data to a table, it automatically assign a null value. Okay, to any column whose name is missing from the column list in the insert statement. As I explained earlier, if we are not writing any column name over here in a bracket of a column name, then automatically it will assign the null value. And if it is a primary key, then it create a problem. Otherwise, in table is stored the null value. Okay, so here we are writing that insert into customer details, customer ID, customer last name, customer middle name, customer first name, account number, account type, and bank branch. We are not writing customer email address here. Okay, and values we are providing the value. So here customer email address is available in our table, but we are not writing in our query. So what SQL will do? SQL will automatically assign a null value. So this is the concept, and here when data is inserting, all values are here: 106 Custom, A, Kevin, 3350 saving Brington, but in email address it will show the null value. Okay, so this is the concept of inserting null value. Now next our statement is update statement. The update statement modifies the value of one or more columns in the selected row of the table. So suppose we have a database and in which we want to change something, then we have to use the update statement. Suppose I have a database of 20 students and in this 20 students, one student changed their mobile number. So I have to update my database. Okay, so for that I have to use the update statement. Now the target table to be updated is named in the statement. The where clause select the row of the table to be modified. Okay, so sometimes it may happen that not all data are changes. Some of these data are changes. So we have to provide the where condition where we have to change. Okay, so if this condition is set true, then this data will be changed. So this is the where clause. The set clause specifies which columns are to be updated and calculates the new value from them. Okay, so we are changing the data. So from previous value we are changing now, new value, so we have to use the set clause. We will see in the example. Syntax is update. We have to provide the table name. Now we have to write set over here. So set column name, which column's value is changing. So we have to provide column 1 is equal to value 1, comma, column 2 is equal to value 2 up to n. We can change n columns. Okay. Where condition must be satisfied. If condition is satisfied, then this value will be changed. So see here, update student. Student is my table name. Now we have to write set. Okay. Then column name. Column name is a name in the student table. So I write name is equal to Gian's, where roll number is equal to 1. So it will check the condition roll number is equal to 1. So it will check in the roll number. When it find the value 1, it will change the name Gian's. It may be happen that at roll number 1 previously some another name is stored, but now we are changing at roll number 1 name must be Gian. So according to that we have to update the statement. So update students set name is equal to Gian's, where roll number is equal to 1. Okay, see the another example. So this is the syntax. Changing all rows. Okay, suppose I have a 10 row in my database, and we can change all 10 rows. Okay, so update customer fixed deposit. Customer fixed deposit is my table name. Now set rate of interest in percentage is equal to null. Okay, until phrase instruction come in, delete rate of interest value for all customers. So we have to delete the all row of rate of interest. Okay, so for that we are using null. Okay, so update customer fixed deposit is my table name. Set rate of interest in percentage is equal to null. Previously in rate of interest in percentage there may be some values. Now it is null. So we are changing it. So this is the update statement. Now changing some rows. Here we are changing all rows. Now we are changing some rows. So we have to provide some conditions. Okay, so for customer with a fixed deposit greater than 3,000, interest rate of interest to 7.3%. Okay, so we have to increase the rate of interest to 7.3%, but we have to satisfy the condition that customers having deposit greater than 3,000. Okay, so the data will be changed where fixed deposits are greater than 3,000. Okay, so update customer fixed deposit is my table name. Set rate, what we have to increase rate of interest. So rate of interest in dollar is equal to 7.3. We are updating it up to 7.3. Okay, so rate of interest in percentage is equal to 7.3. But where we have to update, where amount in dollar. Okay, amount fixed deposit amount must be greater than 3,000. So where amount in dollar greater than 3,000. So it may happen that I have 100 customers, and from that 70 customers have a fixed deposit greater than 3,000. So that 70 records are changes, remaining are as it is. So changing some rows. Here we are changing all rows. Okay, so whenever we are changing some rows, we have to provide the where condition. Clear? Now, changing the value for more than one column. Here we are talking about row. Now we are talking about columns. Okay. So, changing the email ID and the rate of interest of customer is equal to 104. So, we have to change the data of customer ID 104. But we are changing two columns. That is email ID and rate of interest. Okay. So, update customer fixed deposit set customer email is equal to this. We are providing new email address in the single quotes. Okay, rate of interest in percentage is equal to 7.3, but where customer ID is equal to 104. So the customer having customer ID 104 whose data will be changed. Okay, so this is the concept of update statement. Now next is delete statement. The delete statement is used to delete records from the table. Okay, so whenever we want to delete some record, we have to use the delete statement. The delete statement can delete one or more row from a table. Okay, suppose we have a 50 row. From that we can delete one row, or we can use 15 row depending on the situation. So delete statement can delete one or more row. Now listen carefully. Even if all the data is deleted from the table, the definition of the table and its column is still stored in the database. We are deleting only rows. Okay, the table still exists. To erase the definition of the table from the database, the drop table statement must be used. And drop table I have explained in previous lecture. Okay. So what is the meaning of this? The data is deleted from the table. The definition of the table is already there. Column is still stored in the database. So see here, we have a table, okay, in which we have a 5 data, and we have the column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns and 5 rows. So whenever we are deleting some data, the row will be deleted, and if we are deleting more than one row, we are deleting 5 rows, then 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105 are deleting, but the customer details table is already here, and all columns are here. Okay, only the row are deleted. This is the concept of delete statement. Okay, so the delete statement cannot delete columns. As I explained here, delete statement cannot delete columns from the table. It deletes only row. To delete a column from a table, the alter table statement must be used. So remember this, delete statement always delete the row only. It cannot delete the column. The structure must be there and column is still in the database. So this is the delete statement. The syntax is very easy. The delete from table name, from which table we have to delete the table, where condition. We have to provide the where condition over here, because we are not deleting all row. We are deleting some particular row. Okay. So see here, delete from students where subject is equal to Hindi. Assume that some students have a subject Hindi and some students have a subject English. Okay. So we are deleting all the students who have a subject English. Okay, so delete from students where subject is equal to English. So we are providing some condition over here, and it will check in the database, and if students subject is found English, it will delete the records. Okay, so students who have subject Hindi will remain the same in the database. So this is the concept of delete statement. Here, delete from customer details where customer ID is equal to 103. Suppose we have a 5 records and we are deleting the details of the customer where customer ID is equal to 103. So only one row is deleted. So this is the concept of delete statement. Difference between truncate and delete statement. In previous lecture, I explained what is the meaning of truncate statement. So truncate is a DDL statement, whereas delete is a DML statement. As I explained earlier, the truncate deletes all records from the table, where delete can be used to selectively delete records from a table using where clause. As I explained here, we are deleting some selected records. Okay, the subject is equal to English. That students are only deleted. Here the customer details are deleted whose customer ID is 102 only. Remaining data are still here, and in truncate all the data are recorded. We have to provide only truncate and table name. So if in table we have a 20 records, all 20 records are deleted, and in delete statement we can selectively delete the data using where clause. Okay, where condition is true, this data only delete, remaining data must be there in the database. Truncate release the memory occupied by the record of the table, whereas delete does not do this. Okay, so whenever we truncate command is used, the memory occupied by the records are released, and delete statement does not do this. The data removed using truncate cannot be recovered. We cannot recover the data deleted using truncate, but data removed using delete statement can be recovered. So this is the basic difference between truncate and delete statement. Now next is the DCL. So next is DCL. DCL stands for Data Control Language. As name suggests, we are controlling our database. Okay, so for controlling our database, we have to provide the control access. Okay, so as I explained earlier, the data we cannot access whole database. Okay, some permission is given to user according to their requirements. Okay, so it is a set of SQL command used to control access to the data and database. Occasionally DCL commands are grouped with a DML commands. Okay, so we are giving some rights to user. We are giving some access permission to user using grant command, and we take back permissions from the user using revoke command. So there are two commands, grant and revoke. So we are giving grant command. So grant select command we are use to retrieve the data. Update command we are used to update some data. Okay, so we can retrieve the data, we can modify the data on my table. My table means here we have to provide the table name on which table user can from which table user can select the data, on which table user can update the data to some user comma another user. Suppose that there are multiple users, then we are giving this permission to some user only. Okay, so this is the grant command to give the access permission to user on the database, and same revoke, using revoke command we can take back the permission from the user. So revoke select update on my table means table name from user 1 and user 2, and we are giving the permission to user 1 and user 2, and now we are taking the permission from them, so that we use the revoke command. So these are the DCL data control language commands. Okay, now next is TCL, that is the transaction control language. So TCL is the abbreviation of transactional control language. It is used to manage different transactions occurring within a database. Okay, so first is the commit command. Commit command is used to save all the transactions to the database. Okay, so commit command is used permanently save any transaction into the database. Okay, so here we are inserting some data. Okay, we are updating some data, we are deleting some data. After changes we have to save our data permanently. Okay, so commit statement is used here. We have to write only commit after the changing statement. So here suppose in database, from database we deleting some data. Okay, so delete from customers where age is equal to 25. So it will check in the customer table. Okay, and where age of customers are 25, then that customers data are deleted from the table. Okay, so changes made over here. Okay, so our database is changes. So after that we have to write the commit, and when we write commit after some statement, our data is permanently saved. We cannot change over here. So suppose I have a 40 customers, and from that 10 customers have a age 25. So 10 data records are deleted. So now in my database only 30 records are there. So database is changed. So to save that data I have to use the commit statement. So remember this, after writing commit command, the data are permanently saved and we cannot change it. Okay, now if we want to change the data, then we have to use the rollback command. Okay, so rollback, as name suggests, it restores the database to original state since the last commit command is transaction. Okay, so if we write commit command, then it is permanently saved. Okay, so rollback command is used to undo transactions that have not already been saved to the database. Okay, so remember this. Rollback command restore the database to last committed state. Okay, so it is also used with the save point command to jump to a save point in an ongoing transaction. If we have used update command to make some changes in the database. Okay, so we use the insert statement, we use the update statement, we use the delete statement. Okay, now after that we realize that those changes were not required, and we can roll back these changes. Okay, they were not committed using the commit command. Okay, so here delete from customer where age is equal to 25. Okay, previously I write here commit. Okay, so after writing commit, the data are permanently saved. Okay, we cannot change in this data. Now I am writing rollback over here. So after deleting the age of 25 customers, I realize that those changes are not required. Then if I write rollback over here, then I can make the change in the original in the updated state, and I can go back, restore database to original state. So using rollback I can restore my database to original state, but if write commit, then I cannot change the updated. Now next is save point. It is used to roll the transaction back to a certain point without rolling back the entire transaction. Okay, if I have to roll back at some particular point, I don't want to roll back the entire transaction, then save point is used. The save point command is used to temporarily save a transaction so that you can roll back to that point wherever the required. So it is stored the temporary. It will not save the data permanently. In short, using this command, we can name the different state of our data in any table and then roll back to that state using the rollback command wherever the required. So we have to provide the save point name over here. At that point, we can roll back. Okay, not all transaction is rollback. So syntax is simple: save point name. Okay, so this is the tcr command. So in this lecture we completed the DML commands, that is insert command, update command and delete command. Then DCL, it's the grant and revoke commands, and then TCL, this is commit, rollback and save point. Thank you.